belly, you got the pure way, but it doesn't make sense. So you're in the way of all of these senses. I don't even know what you're feeling is hot, but it's cold. Cause I'm a fucking robot, and I don't know what the feeling I got, but your belly go clack, clack, clack. It's an iron clock. It's a clock. It's an iron clock. That's what you got. It's a tick-tick-tock.
All right. Vince, come on, man.
Yeah, I know. The way that shtick is supposed to go classically is that I interrupt Greg within a few seconds to introduce the show. But I resolved before going on the air that I was going to let Greg sing as long as he would sing. Oh, I'm getting an echo from somebody. That could be problematic. But it shouldn't be too problematic because I'm not going to do too much talking tonight. We're talking about Room 42. I think Andrew is going to be presenting. We did think a little much talking too.
It could be.
Andrew is going to be presenting. The echo is murdering me. I'm going to stop. I'm going to fence off there. Or drink the thing she does with the drink.
Oh boy. Greg.
Go for it, Sarah.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, I can hear the echo. Ooh, time for the drink pairing.
Already know that. Still echoing. Who's echoing?
Let's take turns. Mute. I just muted myself. to that echo.
Well, we can't all mute ourselves at the same time.
Okay, let's start with Andrew. Andrew, mute yourself.
It was Andrew.
Oh, did he mute himself?
I think it was Andrew because it's not echoing anymore.
Okay. Mute yourself. Mute.
It was Andrew.
It was Andrew.
Is it me?
Way to go!
Way to be a traitor.
What have I done? Am I the killer?
Yes.
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 The episode.
What a way to go out.
Okay, room 22.
Oh, Andrew left. He'll be back. All right. Well, before he gets back, we'll just say we're doing Room 42 tonight. This is a special episode because this is the last room we have to discuss. Now, that doesn't mean that Mazecast is going to be over. We're not totally sure what we're going to do after this, but we've still got some tricks in store. But it's still
We're going to start over and go through all the rooms again.
What's this wee shit, Greg? You haven't been here in months.
I've put in my time. Like, this person, who's this lady here? She hasn't been here hardly at all. I've done more episodes than she has, and she's going to be like carry the finish line? No!
Have you ever heard the parable about people going, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but Jesus talking about people going and working in a field? It's something about wages and
talents. I agree. She should deserve as many talents as I get, but I don't think I should be deprived of talents just because I wasn't there at the end of the day. I worked really hard at the start of the day.
No, that's kind of the way that parable goes. It's about how everyone goes to hell except for the people who came in at the end.
Oh.
It's not about fairness. It's just illustrating the cruelty of nature.
Blessed be the people there at the end. Okay.
Well, but you're here at the end, so I guess.
Yeah. So what you're bitching about? I get to decide that we're going to do all the rooms again.
Okay. Well, we'll determine what happens at some point off the air, not in the middle of a Room 42 episode. We're going to be talking about Room 42. Sarah's going to give us our drink pairing. Greg has apparently not only not been on the show, but not watched it in quite a long time, so he's not familiar with Sarah, who gives us our drink pairing for every room that we discuss. And then he's going to lead our discussion on room 42. And we did this week a little differently. Instead of abstaining from talking about the room for a week, we all talked about it. We posted a bunch of stuff on the Abyss. I don't know if it was really any more productive than a week in which we didn't talk to each other or say anything. But it at least accomplishes this. All of my ideas have been thrown out there, so I don't think I need to do any more talking once I pass the ball off, because everything's already out there, so the presenter should have it covered. So, okay.
So pass the ball, Watkins.
Yes, I passed the ball to Sarah.
All right. Okay, so for this room, I looked at the elephant's foot umbrella stand, which made me think of colonial India. So I went to the beer store with an India Pale Ale in mind, and what I found was something even better. Not just an India Pale Ale, but an India Pale Ale called Dead Elephant. I don't know if you can see that. Dead Elephant India Pale Ale. So that's my drink pairing for the evening. If you're watching this not live, you could pause right now and go get your nice glass of India Pale Ale.
What store did you get that at?
Well, I'm in Canada, so I got it from actually the LCBO.
Here's my pale ale right here.
Cheers!
Cheers.
Dink. The two Canadians drinking beer. It's sort of embarrassing.
So how does it taste? Is this your first
well
can?
known for its abstinence from spirits.
Okay.
So can you talk about how the beer tastes?
Oh, it's quite hoppy.
Uh-huh.
A little bit fruity. Has a nice aftertaste, but it's a little, it's actually a little bit of a thin aftertaste, so I'm surprised about that. But I guess it's, it's dead, so that's not surprising. It's good. Strong, 6.5.
Now, you had to go to one of those special, like, government-licensed alcohol establishments to buy this?
I did. I went to the liquor store, which is run by the government of Ontario.
Did you know about that, Greg? Did you know that the government is in charge of the booze industry in Canada?
I didn't know that. I'm actually in Washington State, and up until recently we had the same situation. And you could buy beer and wine at the grocery store, but not any spirits. And it's recently been changed due to like a citizen initiative that was sponsored by some alcohol companies, and it's actually worse. The prices are higher, and it's a little more convenient because you can get it at a grocery store, but I liked it better when the government controlled it. They were kinder, and yeah.
There you have it, folks.
This is all very important.
Thanks for sticking to it.
Communism in action. It works in some spots.
The further north you go, the better communism works.
And our viewers are well aware that the show has always just been a masquerade for left-wing propaganda. So
Now, since it's the last room, we're just putting our eggs on the table. So
we brought you in this far just to really unleash the red men on our listeners. We're going full-on Marxists from here on out.
It's like Scientology. You only learn about the reality of it at the end.
All right. Andrew, room 42.
Yes, all right. Take it away. So, this room, well, we've got 4 out of 5 on the Abyss meter, and there's quite a lot that's considered to be confirmed on the Abyss right now that I'll let you guys know about. But just to get the groundwork out of the way first, this is a room that's on the path. This is on the way in, if I'm not much mistaken, because you get the word bear from the savage beast that's taxidermied over there in the corner. And let's see, the correct door to take is 4, and that's going to get you closer to 45. And the room that you've just come out of is 30. So let's take a look and see all of the many, let's sample the massive buffet of solutions that are supposedly confirmed, and we'll see which ones we like and which ones we hate. So I guess we should start off with the one that I think is probably the simplest and the best, which is the pair of dice. When you look in the all of the images around the
Oh,
doors of the room, you can see on the door 37 we have, except that. Sorry, was I interrupted?
No, I was saying you were completely incomprehensible there for a long time.
Oh dear.
You've been stricken by the robot virus, but you sound okay now.
Yeah.
Right now, where'd you miss me?
Just start from explaining the solution.
Sure. So the solution that I think is a good start for us is the pair of dice, which is on the image of door 37. The bottom die impossibly shows a 1, and a 2, which can't be. So you notice that that's wrong, and you add the dots up, and you get 4, which seems pretty simple and straightforward. Now on the Abyss, this is advertised as part of a set. Apparently there are 3 somewhat hidden 4s in this room, according to the Abyss. You take that as being one of them. You take the 4 boots in the group as being a second quartet, and you take the bare feet in the picture up at the very top of the room as a third set of 4. Now, I don't really particularly like either of those. I think that
Oh, you're cutting out again.
you can count anything anywhere. This is the 5 door is a single digit. Other ones are all inches. It seems to me that it's incredibly easy to just count 4s. Of course, you're not going to be able to say, look, there are 37 of this thing in this room. So I really like the dice solution. I don't like the other 2. Should I pause now? Did anybody have any thoughts so far? Any comments or reproach?
Well,
I think you kind of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
I'll say yeah, just real fast. You could do you could add numbers up on the dice to equal numbers on the signs, but you can't. Like they don't add up to anything. 40 something. There's nothing there that.
Oh yeah, you can't take the 2 dice together. Rather, you only look at the bottom die, which is wrong.
Right.
You ignore.
I would add textually, there's the line, you can count on me, so you count on that die.
So you add those up and you get that's true.
Alex, you might have to take over because Andrew's totally cutting out.
Okay.
Yeah, we should. That's people have tried to do a whole lot with that, and yeah, you could. I'm sorry, am I still cutting out?
Yeah.
You're cutting out. So I'll explain the other basic theories about the signs on the doors.
So I'll go ahead and hang up and.
Okay, he'll be back.
Okay,
well, he's gone. Let me just say, I agree that's a totally dumb solution. Well, I have no reason to be. 5 boots in the room. Boots. So how do you pick 4 of them and say the 4 boots are a clue to door 4?
Because they're paired up. They're paired up.
I don't understand. One of the boots is a little farther away from the other one. But that's ridiculous. If
there is no 5. Like,
what do you mean?
Which ridiculous solution are we at now?
There's a 5.
There are 5 boots in the room.
Well, the boots are there's 2 pairs of boots, and then 5 boots total. So you could use the boots as a pointer to 25. I see what Vincent is saying. I don't think that's very compelling. The boots.
But compared, when you look at the pairs of things, the pair, it's part of that group. The salt and pepper, the SP is the only thing that's left. So those are 2 conflicting clues if you look at them that way.
Well, I think the pair solution is a lot more compelling than the things add up to 4 solution.
Yeah, and I think the boots would make a lot more sense in that context of just fitting this pattern of like paired, unpaired, or like pair, not a pair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got pair of boots, a boot on its own, which seems to fit the same theme of the pictures on the doors being pair, not a pair. That makes more sense to me than saying, well, let's just count these boots here, and forget about that other boot, and that gives us 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right about that, I think.
Yeah, pair solution's way better. So
And,
should someone tell
poor
the
bear feet.
solution? We haven't actually brought that one forth, but we're kind of saying we prefer that one, or at least I am. SP, want to do that?
Well, I like the 4 bare feet at the top too. That's a 4 right there.
Yeah, but come on, that's how many feet the bear have.
Yeah, it's a bear.
Yeah, but okay, but why?
Sure, right there.
And they even make a point of like the front 2 feet sort of overlap so that it's kind of like one, and then, I mean, like let's say the correct door were 37. Here's what the answer would be on the Abyss. I guarantee you, it would be that every one of those feet forms a 7, right? So you have 3 7s, so it's 37.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Stuff that, I mean, and obviously, I think we could pick any room we want. We could find some stuff we could count that was 4. I don't. Anyway, get to the good stuff.
Andrew, you want to talk about saints and sinners?
That's the good stuff is about pairs.
Oh, pairs. Well, I don't know. The only one that's not a pair is the salt and pepper. That's about it. That's all.
Yeah, I want to say that was
Say that. Or I can say it.
Say it.
I'll say it. So there's little signs on the doors. Okay, we have a pair of scissors. We have a pair, and we have a pair of dice, and then we have a salt and pepper shaker set. So the odd person out, or the odd sign out, is the salt and pepper shaker set. And we came from room 30, so we kind of know that that's not the way.
Actually, 30 can be excluded because the text says they opened a door, and 30 already has an open door.
Okay.
I don't know why that is not accepted as a solution.
I accept it.
Well, I mean, on the Abyss, it just seems so unambiguous.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Like, it makes sense, so of course it's not going to be accepted.
Oh, Greg throwing stones.
Oh, yeah! Boom!
Come full circle, guys. If you guys remember the first episode, we were trashing the Abyss, and now it's.
No, we weren't. Not really. No.
I guess you haven't watched it in a while, have you?
No, I haven't. But I don't think so. We've always had this sort of love-hate relationship with the Abyss, where there's a lot of important and good stuff that came from it, but we're always sort of morally offended by some of the solutions on there.
It's like your relationship with your dad or your mom.
I don't hate my mom.
No, well, right. You don't hate the Abyss either. It's just like they've kind of like given you some instruction, but at the same time, their kind of rules kind of crimp your style, and you want to explore on your own. And maybe you don't agree with everything that they've handed down from on high, but you still kind of, are glad that they taught you what they did. But everything they taught you is maybe not everything that you think is right.
Well, that's
I don't know what your relationship with your parents is like, but I would just like to make clear that I love my mother and my father.
I'm talking about my relationship with your mother and father, not my parents. I
Oh.
took them out of it.
I think that's probably the correct solution, the main solution. I think it was intended. I think David Gentile actually made a good criticism of that solution, which I think is fair, which is that even a grouping of two non-similar or non-identical things is still like a pair. Like if you hear often said of two, what do I want to say, like very different people that hang out together or are married or something, you'd be like, wow, they're quite a pair.
Yeah, you could call these a pair of shakers. I don't see why you couldn't call them that.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're not both shakers because one's a shaker and one's a grinder. They make that clear.
Okay, here we
So
go.
they're not the same thing. But I mean, it's still, even when there are two dissimilar things, when they're grouped together, they're still frequently referred to as a pair.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone speak of these as a pair. It's just like a quirk of the English language, I think, and that's what this this puzzle seems to be going on, or at least the most.
Greg on this one for sure.
It's this language.
There's certainly a use, right? I mean, that's the thing. There's like a usage of the word pair where it would mean two of the same thing. Or if you say I want a pair, but like even consider a pair of shoes. Shoes aren't identical, you know, right? They're mirror imaged.
Right, but as like you also have a pair of scissors.
Yeah, a pair of scissors is not identical either. Each piece of it is the mirror image of the other.
Yeah.
So you have three different uses of the word pair here, right? You have pair to mean actually one that has components. You have a pair which is the a pair which is not actually the pair that means two, and then you have a pair of dice that is actually two things. So you have three different uses of pair, and then you have salt and pepper shaker, which is not a use of the word pair.
But I'm saying that it is. Like, people would refer, like, say you were at an auction site and they were selling an antique salt shaker and pepper grinder, and they would say, like, how much for the pair? You know, that is absolutely a way that people would use the word pair.
But in that way, you could call any two things a pair, right? Like, you could refer to any two things as a pair, but I mean, we would say a pair of scissors, we would say a pair of dice, but I mean, the correct way to refer to the salt and pepper is as a set. So I do think that this one really.
I think that is the intended solution. I think that is correct. I think that's what is meant. All I'm saying is that Gentile is correct, that those can be completely normal English usage of the word pair be referred to as a pair. And it's not like just a couple of random objects. They're obviously a pair of associated objects that would normally go together on any dinner table. So I think.
Right. So why didn't he put like one plate or something? Is what you're saying?
Well,
there are much easier ways for him to signal an odd one out there.
I'm not saying. I mean, I think that is the right solution. I think that's what Manson intended, is the pair solution. I'm just saying that Gentile made a fair criticism of it.
He did make a fair point, because the only item that there is one of is the actual pair on 25, because the pair of scissors, it is sort of two shears, and you have the pair and the salt and pepper, you have two dice, but you only have one pair. So if you don't reverse engineer it the way we're doing now, because we know the solution, so we know salt and pepper, so we're trying to make excuses, like we don't know which came first, the solution or figuring it out, etc. But that being said, the pair is, if you don't reverse engineer it, you might think that 25 is the answer because it's a single object.
Yeah, that's true. If 25 were the correct answer, that may well be what we would say, is that the other.
But it's a pair.
Here, then that one is the EAR pair.
And it could be reinforced with a single boot, right? You could be like, oh, there's one boot there by itself, there's one pair, that's the answer.
You're right. You're right. Oh, man. That fits. You're right. That absolutely fits.
All I'm saying is you gotta understand the whole reverse engineering, because we do it all the time. In a lot of episodes, we sort of we justify a solution based on what we already know. But you gotta try to get out of that frame of thinking, right?
But that's
been the theme of this entire series. Get out of that. That has been the theme of this entire series.
Oh, I know. It's what we do.
Well, shall I go on to another solution?
Yes.
If you guys can follow me, let me know if you're not getting me again. But
we'll do like a hand signal. How about we do this? We'll do this.
Okay, Greg, you do that if he gets robot-y.
Okay.
Now, he was speaking perfectly.
Very carefully for your answers, Greg, and we'll see if this works. I'm going to skip this.
I'm going to shift camera focus to Greg while he does his jazz hands, and we wait. He was speaking perfectly clearly during the explanation of what the warning sign would look like, but then as soon as he was able to speak, he went robot-y.
Yeah. It's just not working, Andrew. It's not you, it's the internet.
That's terrible.
See, now you're clear.
Yeah.
I'm clear right now?
explain something real fast.
Say this was real fast. Okay, so you can count on me. So this guy named D-Nuts, which I assume probably is just a misspelling of donuts, and he left out the O, because that's the only charitable interpretation of that name. He says, you can count on me. The guy, you can't rely on the guy. They say the guy is sincere. They say, I said it sincerely, but you can't trust the guy. He's always trying to lead them astray. So if the guy is speaking sincerely, then it must be that you must be interpreting his words in some way. On me, you can go, oh, that's 4 letters. On me, you count, you get the door.
I mean, your karma ran out before you got to the solution, but I'm so glad you got to make your comment on D-Nut's name.
I think his name is Dan, and he's got some nuts.
Okay. I don't even...
A pair of nuts.
So, is this the solution where he says you can count on me, they want you to count the letters? Yeah. Is that the one you were going for?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep feebly trying
Alex, do you have the... Alex, you got to take over. You got to do it.
He's saying, is he reading it? Okay, he's back. Is he back? What do you want me to do? What do you want to say?
Just, do you have the Abyss pulled up? Can you read the solution that he's talking about?
The nut solution.
I'd pull it up, but I got the room pulled up.
This is the on me one.
Man, what a final episode! What a way!
It's epic.
Okay.
40. We're hitting all the touch points here.
I think we're trying to we're rivaling the noise to content ratio of our last episode.
It's just unintentional this time.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got it. You want me to read it?
Yes.
Okay. This is the on me solution. In the text it says you can count on me. I said sincerely. On me is 4 letters indicating door 4. Thus, when the guide is sincerely helping when he says you can count on me. And then there's some talk about the phrases that are bracketing the clue. I assured them I would help them return. Still, they wouldn't leave anything behind. To anyone who has played Maze for long, it is obvious that the guide is not going to help them return. Right? And the visitors are correct to keep their codes with them. The addition of the thought word sincerely puts the clue in high relief. And I think there's a whole long comment string from you, Vince, about how you felt like that didn't make sense, but the appearance of me 4 times made a lot more sense in the text, except once it was backwards. But then I also appears 4 times.
Well, that was credited to White Raven. That last part, it's kind of off track, I'd say. The D's nuts one is kind of good though.
You think that's kind of good, counting the letters in on me?
Well, no, counting. I don't know about the on me, but indicating the 4 on the dice, I like that. I don't know about any of the shit that he actually says.
But that's not what he's saying for that solution. He's saying that on me is counting those letters.
I don't agree with him at all. Then I agree with the fact that it says count on me, and he's talking about the dice with the 4. That's what I believe.
Dice starts with P. Dice nuts.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I just think once again, it's a case where you can find when you've got when the correct door number is a low number, you can find stuff to count that's going to fit it. So you've got this count on me, whatever. Yeah, not terribly impressed with that one. Yeah, Sarah, do you want to read the next one?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, it's yours.
Okay, so the next... Okay, well, one of them is mine, which you guys probably hate. It's the one about the bear paws being the way they're angled in the back, and in the front it kind of looks like the top part of the 4. And I actually looked at all the 4s in the book. I can't believe I actually did that, but I did. And this is the only time where the 4 appears like that exactly, with the little right pointing end part of the 4 being quite so prominent. Anyway, White Raven liked it, so it's up there. And there's little images on the Abyss that you can see it.
That's how you know you've made it.
Yeah.
Those little
I even have a related image. It's so exciting.
That's pretty good.
I mean, there is something weird going on with the shape of those legs, and I mean, there's
looks like Yogi Bear, you know, with Boo Boo. An angle there, like or I don't know if you guys read Mad Magazine back in the day, but that's reminiscent of the characters that were drawn in that.
The Spies?
No, Sergio Aragonés.
Oh, just his style in general?
Yeah, his style in general with the way.
Writer side of
Or even what was the other one? Looney Tunes. They drew bears like that on Looney Tunes with the back legs, looking all funny and bent.
and considered that it could be two different. Those legs could belong to two different creatures, but I guess it's perfectly plausible, really.
Yeah.
He's in a bear suit.
It could be these like furry stalks that end in an eyeball. And eyeball with a single antenna.
Yeah, it could be 4 different creatures.
Christmas tinsel, and they're trying to spread cheer.
Some creature from Dr. Zeus.
Yeah, I think you've got it, Greg. That's probably what Manson was going for. God, where did we have? But anyway, Sarah's saying you can kind of like those are kind of like the shapes that are in the 4. And
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I haven't read that Your Solution on the Abyss, Sarah, but I think that's interesting. I think that's actually plausible, because I think Manson does kind of just try to like imply, like, his solutions aren't always like these kind of clear-cut things. They're just kind of like, oh, this will make you feel this way, feel like 4. And I think that works with those legs, definitely.
I kind of agree with that interpretation of it, because like the harder you look at it and the more you think about it, the more it seems to fall apart. But if you just kind of like maybe blur your eyes a little, like you're doing a magic eye puzzle, or just kind of scope over it, I can see it. Like I can see that's the front of the 4, that's the back of the 4, the negative space in between the legs even kind of looks like a 4 could go in there.
Yeah.
There's some 4-ness about it.
Yeah, and so like Andrew was saying before, when we could hear him, that the
As Andrew was saying,
the story of this podcast was I forget what he was saying, but we had some visitor episodes, which I think kind of gets to more the intention of the book, which was these kind of more intuitive leaps and decisions that way. Like, what he was saying is that it's like us trying to avoid reverse engineering was kind of the story of this whole series that we've been doing. But we've had a few episodes which we brought other people in who haven't really studied the book the way that we have, and they've kind of seen it from the other direction. And I think that's kind of more the intended audience of Christopher Manson when he wrote the book, or made the book. And I think the back leg solution that Sarah brought forth is kind of more in line with that, and I think that means it's probably right.
The thing I always come up against when we're doing these solutions is that this was at a time when there was no Google. Like, it's so easy for us to go and find connections to everything now. Like, you just sit and type away, and you just couldn't do that in 1985 or whatever it was. So a lot of these things that are accepted solutions are just so difficult. I just don't know how people. I mean, maybe he just did it for his own entertainment and didn't really expect anyone to get it.
I think there's probably more of that going on than we know. Either that, or he just has no conception of what a normal human being knows or can figure out.
Right.
Which won't be the case.
Well, he's not a puzzle designer, right? Like before he made this book, he was making children's books, or I don't know what he was doing, but it wasn't like he had like a extended like study in that art form of like creating puzzles that people can also actually solve in kind of the puzzly way, which tends to be kind of like tends to have a solid ground to it. So I think, just like if anyone were to just come up with a puzzle, their first puzzle, and then have it become suddenly really popular because his visuals are very striking and there's this kind of mystery in the text that people kind of like the people being us, really read into it. I mean, it's not like he's like a puzzle artist. He's a visual artist, and he's got like, some, vague enough text to kind of keep us guessing about it. But really, puzzle construction isn't really the art form that he spent a lot of time doing and had a lot of failures and checks and editing. Like, I don't think the editors really like checked his puzzling creation either.
Oh no, I can't imagine anyone else had any idea what was going on.
Yeah.
But it's funny because right after this, he came out with 2 really solid, concretely solvable puzzle books. And
Which are as compelling.
Right, but it makes me question whether Maze is the way it is because he didn't yet have experience with puzzles and he didn't quite know what he was doing, or just because that's what he wanted to do with Maze. Because like the Practical Alchemist, I think is such a tightly constructed, and I mean it would be so difficult to do something like that without having inadvertent paths running through it all over the place. Just because there'd be so many words you didn't think about. Oh shoot, there's this. They can put that in. People have come up with alternate paths through there, but it's not easy to do.
I've found like 8, probably 12.
So anyway,
Not big. Not big.
That'll be a good book to do next if we continue. If Maze is dead on this podcast.
Well, it's hard to do a lot about that though, because the solution's right in the back of the book.
No, coming up with alternate stuff. I think that would be fun.
Oh, coming up with alternate stuff?
I could see an episode, but I think after this we're going to do the rooms all over again.
All right.
And by we, I mean you guys, because normally I can't make it.
Well, we've been doing them early. That kind of cuts you out, too.
Yeah, right. It was planned. I get it. But
Sarah,
I was
suddenly available at time.
Sarah, can you explain the elephant foot umbrella stand solution? Because
Okay.
I'll tell you right now, I can't.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't even know if I believe that it's a solution, really, but it's interesting. So, an elephant's foot umbrella stand is actually a parlor game. And the parlor game, I guess the classic version of the parlor game is that someone would know the rules to this game and nobody else would know. And the rules that they would say, okay, I went to the store and bought an elephant's foot umbrella stand. And then everyone would say, oh, I went to the store and bought, whatever, a calendar. And then the guy running the game would say yes or no. And the rule was the things you bought had to start with the letters E, L, E, P, H, A, N, T, and so on in sequence. But nobody else knew that, so the people would have to figure that out based on what the guy said was right or wrong. So that's the classic version of it. But I guess it can be expanded to have any rule. So, the rule could be only green things, or only things that you can see in the room, or only office supplies. I don't know, but the main thing is only the guy running the game knows the rule, and the job of the other people is to figure out the rule. So, I don't know. From my perspective, it's... Go ahead.
Sorry, when I was a camp counselor back in the day, the rule was that it had to start with the same letter as your name.
Ah, yeah, exactly. Stuff like that.
So there we have...
Playing one like that at camp, actually.
Yeah, maybe it's a Canadian thing. Or just a camp thing.
Jeez.
So I was going to say the next show could be about Alex as a camp counselor, and maybe we just kind of delve into
Get some carrots for them.
Next topic. I think we could get a whole another couple years out of that.
You know what? It was a great job while it lasted down at Harborfront. You know what? It was an awesome time. I'm glad I did it. It was really fun.
All right, so next time on Mazecast, day 1, Alex, fresh counselor. We'll see what it's like. So this elephant stand game, is it like eat poop you cat? Like that's kind of like the classic start is the elephant umbrella stand.
Right.
Okay.
It's the classic start. That's why it's called that. And Vince came up with something about how the objects in the foot kind of, you could pick any 2 of them and make them similar, and then there's always one odd one out. And then White Raven said, "Oh, it's like this." He had some other idea about how it worked in the room. I guess. White Raven related it to the pairs. So he's like, "Okay, the rule is pairs. You have to figure out that the rule is pairs, and the elephant's foot is beside 2 of the pairs. So that's what's going on with the elephant's foot." And I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe.
I think there's something going on with those 3. Because think about it, guys. Like those 3 things, the umbrella, the cane, and the baton, have appeared in Maze numerous times all throughout Maze. This is the only one where they're all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Along with the top hat.
Looking. It's not like any other umbrellas. Most of the umbrellas just had a regular hook at the end of them.
Well, from what I remember, all the umbrellas are different, right?
Yeah, every umbrella is different.
This is a very bird-like umbrella here.
Yeah.
So can I say something about this room that's just kind of like I don't think about this room too much, but the one thing that makes me that I think about with this room is the line rending with tusk and claw. So they're talking about a savage animal, and once again, Manson doesn't actually specify what the name of the animal is, which is maybe because he wants you to think bear, which rhymes with pear, and then you're thinking pears. But
there because that's word in the middle.
Yeah, it wants you to identify the animal on your own in some way. But they say tusk and claw. So is this like sloppy writing on Manson's part, or is he actually referring to something that isn't pictured? Because bears don't have tusks.
It's so weird. I mean, who the hell knows? Right. Number one, even if by tusk and claw he just meant like tooth and claw, the bear in the corner that we actually see seems deliberately friendly in its depiction. Like it does not at all look like it's ready to leap out and attack somebody. I mean, it even looks like it's smiling. So that doesn't seem to fit the bear.
But bears have claws, elephants have tusks, and those are the two animals we're seeing.
Right. The other thing
between the two.
Maybe it's some Motown song that came out in the 70s or something, and he oh yeah, tusk and claw. I remember that one.
Good suggestion, Alex.
That's probably it. Let's stop thinking about it.
Oh. So yeah, that's I've not heard any sort of explanation for what's going on there. Why he says tusk and claw. I mean, but yeah, I think you're right. The fact that it's tusk and claw, bears don't have tusks, but then he's got the elephant foot in there,
which has a tusk. And the kind of like, if you wanted to go for what the common expression was, you would say tooth and claw. That's like something you hear. Tusk and claw, you don't really hear. So there's a purpose for that. It's not. It's either like he just misremembered the common tooth and claw, which doesn't seem likely, but it's possible. I mean, we have to keep in mind that he is like an amateur puzzle creator at this point. Or that's my hypothesis.
It could just be that they're both 4-letter words. Tusk, claw.
Oh my God! You can count on them. Well, I'm glad you mentioned the bear because that was the last aspect that I thought, which was saints that way. Sinners, this is definitely big hot button topic that
Did you guys hear anything?
if you guys can
Cutting
still
up.
hear me, all I'm going to say is I don't think there's any way to point one way and then another way. I don't think you can nail down which one is that way and which.
So Andrew is talking about the sign. I don't know exactly what he's saying about the sign, but I think I heard him saying that you can't really nail down which way the bear is referring to, being this way and that way.
I haven't seen the argument yet.
I think for
And I don't think it makes sense for 30 to be where the sinners go.
yeah, definitely.
Because 22 is the most hellish room, and 22 is the bad room for us to go to. 30 is fine.
Although it's the room about Adam and Eve, who are sort of the first sinners.
They're the first
I think 22 has that kind of hellish quality.
Oh yeah, for sure.
White Raven
Well, I
said
think doesn't White Raven say sinners this way refers to the left side, saints that way refers to the right side, but we don't totally know why.
That's not what's confirmed. Right now we just have, it refers to door 30, which is the incorrect door, which is a little kind of a disingenuous phrasing. It's actually, it could be fine door to go through.
It's an incomplete solution. It's not just pointing to the right, but it's pointing to a specific door. But he said it was incomplete in that sinners is 30, but we haven't figured out which one saints points to.
I don't even agree with sinners pointing to 30, and I don't see how you can say that saints that way doesn't point to 30. Like, how can you, this has been the struggle, is how can you get which way is this way and which way is that way?
Yeah, agreed.
Well, maybe it's a red herring. Maybe the whole sign, like, is they're confused.
That's rough, because it's like the most blatant clue. It's like the most blatant directional clue in the entire movie. It's like, hey, figure me out, and you'll figure out which way you're supposed to go.
Yeah, I don't think we've got that. I mean, here's the thing. Manson, in an email to David Gentile, when Gentile was asking about some theories he had about some Christian stuff in the book, Manson said, I didn't put any Christian themes in the book. There were some Christian things included for the sake of wordplay, and and then he puts parenthetically, he specifies none and paradise, as in paradise, as examples of things he included in the book solely for the word value. Now, there are only two places where there are pairs of dice in the book. That's here and in 37. I guess in 37, you could arguably say the paradise has to do with, because that room is about looking down from above on the room. But it seems more plausible that the paradise pun, wherever in the book, applies here, and it has to do with the saints this way, sinners that way, that the, well, I guess reverse that, but it seems more likely that the indication of where saints go is pointing towards paradise, but the question is, why is that the case? The thing is,
kind of been your personal.
It's not clear immediately from the text that we should be the picture that we want to go the saints' way, or that we want to go the sinner's way, or that we don't want to go the sinner's way, or that we do want to go the saints' way. But we can't assume that everything is just telling us the right way to go. I mean, just a room ago in room 30, there's a sign that says, if no Eve, which is an anagram of 1-5, and that does not tell us the right way to go. It's like a puzzle that you solve it, and it points to a door, and it's not the right door. And this could very easily be the same thing. It seems more thematically related to paradise on one hand and the Garden of Eden stuff that we just came from in 30, as sinners going there and saints going that way, or room 22 because it's got the devil face, right? Well, not the devil face. That's
a fork in the tail.
But it's got the the pitchfork. There's some devilly connotation, I guess, and you're in the trap. So I wonder whether it's not even there as a room solution, but just as a kind of a general acknowledgement of these themes that are going on in the adjoining rooms.
Well, it could divide. I think it could do a couple things. It could divide the doors in two. So you know it's going to be one of these three doors. Well, you don't know, but maybe you suspect it's going to be one of these three doors. You're going to intuit that it's going to be one of these three doors rather than the two doors that are center doors. And then if you go to the one that's the paradise, right, which is the one that you would think saints would go to, then that draws your attention to the dice faces themselves, which you can count on, and you can get the number 4, which takes you to that other one. It might be like a series of steps like that you're kind of just supposed to follow this intuitive path and then get to 4 from there.
What?
So I could say it again. So there's two.
No, don't. Everyone is curious about what he just said. Just rewind it. Well, not rewind. Okay, I was born a long time ago. Just get back and then watch what he said. Imagine that we all just heard it and now we understand it and we're all on the same page. Great job. Okay. Boy, do we have any accepted or suggested solutions left that we need to talk about? I've totally lost track of where we are. This is like the old days where our episodes just went on and on forever. This is great.
I had put up about 1 million solutions, but they were all terrible. So I don't know. We need to talk about it.
It's all about we just get that shit out there on the table and we poke at it and we pick bits of
Nobody's mentioned
broccoli or corn or whatever you ate and we examine it and they're like, you need more fiber or you need more cheese.
Okay, Greg, you're here and Top Hat's in this room. What do you have to say about Top Hat being in this room and his coat?
I'm a little bit out of practice, so I don't know. Yeah, I can't really tell you about my Top Hat theories with this room right now. Maybe Vincent might be the one to ask.
About your Top Hat theories?
Yeah, could you tell us?
Greg's theory about Top Hat is that every person you meet in the maze is Top Hat. So the blind man, even the upside down man who's in the same room as the blind man, both musicians, both patrons in room 26, the guide, all the guests, everyone is Top Hat at different points in this looping time cycle.
That's right, Vincent. It's kind of like that quantum hypothesis of light. Like, you know how there's photons going back and forth in time. So there's the idea that maybe it's all the same photon going back and forth in time that we're seeing. So all the light we see is actually the same photon of light going back and forth in time and shining off of everything. Top Hat is like that for the maze. So Christopher Manson had this kind of intuitive view of quantum mechanics, and he was using Top Hat as sort of like the stand-in for the photon that we all used to see every day.
Right, and the way we know that is because Top Hat is an anagram of photon.
Yes.
And to path.
Okay, so we've taken care of the Top Hat. We've explained that. You know, the Top Hat and the coat rack there, that's about the only thing that's left over in the room that hasn't been part of an accepted solution on the Abyss. That means that if this room is on the guide path, that's got to be where the stuff is.
Yeah, you know, there's this solution that a couple of people have mentioned that I really like that has not been accepted, which is that, you know, if you were leaving a house, you would see an umbrella stand and a coat rack and everything, just like the way it is in 37 on your way out. So it's almost telling you this is a room you're going to need to go to, but if you go there now, you're going to be leaving, and that's not what you want to do. And I kind of like that. I mean, I don't know, it kind of works for me, but I think White Raven doesn't accept things. Often it's because they're terrible, but often it's because he has some other use for them.
Yeah, and it seems like almost any other use would probably be better.
I like that. I think it's good.
So White Raven's like your mom or your dad, and there's another parent who is also disapproving of you.
I'm your drunken stepfather that.
Yeah, he's your stepdad who.
And I don't like beat you or like get funny with you or anything, but you still kind of feel really bad about me being around. Like you really feel like I'm mistreating your mother, and
You're
maybe
really just kind of in the way of the TV. So one thing with this room, there's another room that refers back to this room, right? The one with the baseball going through the window. I feel like you can't really talk about this room without talking about that room as well, and the inter-room connections there.
Although we talked extensively about those connections in the Room 23 episode.
But what if someone just wants to look at this episode and not go through the extensive hours of just talking about Maze, and they just really want to talk about 42?
No one is watching this episode that's not willing to go watch episode 23, especially this point in the episode. No one made it this far in the episode that's not willing to go watch the Room 23 episode.
Yeah, they got through the stepdad stuff. So.
Well, we've been on the air for a little over an hour now, I think. And we've given about 15 minutes worth of content. So the people who are with us now are the real fans. They're the super fans. Yeah. They're the ones that we're doing it for.
Yeah, we're doing it for you.
Okay, but just inter-room connections, 23 refer. Well, no, I'm not. No, fuck you. I'm not going to go through it.
Oh! Can you at least tell them what minute we talk about room 42?
No.
The room 42 episode?
No, because
we're asking for the second, Vincent. Just a minute.
No, they should watch the whole episode.
Yeah, they have to watch everything. We want good analytics here, guys.
Oh, and if you watch it in slow motion, you get stuff about 42.
They can listen to it backwards for secret clues. No, it was good. I had a graphic where the two rooms were kind of sutured together. You could see the similarity between them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on that subject, when they are kind of mirror images, and they're both. You can only see one corner in the room, which to kind of circle back to the idea of is there another animal here? That's just another thing that suggests to me that that the bear in the corner there is not the animal that Manson's talking about, because he talks about the animal being in the corner. It doesn't seem to describe that animal very well, and then the other corner is notably not visible. So I do think that the bear that we're looking at there is not the bear that he's describing, and he's very intentionally pointing that out to us. With the tongue, the elephant's foot, with the missing corner.
It's a three-legged elephant, and so you're supposed to take 3 from 7 and get 4.
What?
Three-legged elephant? That's in the corner over there.
Okay, three-legged elephant.
And so you take 3 from that 7 in 30.
Why are we taking 3 from a 7?
Because that's paradise.
But you're 7 from the 7 and 37.
Yeah.
Well, there's already a 3 up there, so why don't you just forget about the elephant?
That's a pair of 3s. You take that pair of 3s from paradise.
There's only one 3 in the paradise.
Oh, but you have the 3 legs from the elephant that you can't see in the corner.
Okay.
And you match that 3 legs with the 3 there. And one of the clues to that is that the bear legs that look like 4s kind of looks like there's maybe 3 legs there because the 2 are overlapping.
Hey, we are missing 4 legs in the room because we can only see 3 of the bear's paws. One of them is completely covered by the sign, and we can't see the elephant's other 3 feet, so there are 4 missing feet.
Yeah.
That's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah.
Or there are 4 feet present, I guess. But then it's really like there are 8 feet because then there's the painted feet too. So I think you really want to count the missing feet.
If
It's
there's
just
8
like,
feet,
just like
though,
room
that's a pair of 4s.
a pair of 4s.
A pair of 4s is 8.
Yeah. That's accurate.
We're solving all over the place. This is like a
That wasn't a solution.
It's like we drank a solution and we couldn't handle it all, so we just spewed it all out, and that's what you're getting right now, this like spew of solution.
That was barely a comment. Okay. Maybe, I don't know where we are in terms of solutions for the room. I feel like we've probably done a pretty good job.
We should go over the text. Let's talk about the text.
That's what I was going to segue to.
Well, couldn't you just let me do that? Did you have to be the one to do it?
Go ahead. Read.
Greg segueing. I can go with that.
Oh, wait. Did you want to do the segue, or did you want to read the text?
No, I just wanted to do the segue.
Okay, go ahead and I'm segueing to your segue.
Okay, so while we're talking about pairs, this room is actually kind of paired in a way between visual and verbal. We've talked about the visual. Let's go to the other part of that pair, the verbal. Think of it as the seed or the skin, whichever way you want to look at it, or maybe the stem.
Okay.
Text.
All right, so who would like to read the text? Should I read the text?
Not me.
Yeah, it's...
Robot.
You can only handle duties that don't require talking.
All right. The next room. In one corner, a savage animal appeared ready to leap out, roaring, rending, tusk and claw. But it was only a bit of taxidermy after all.
All right, so good. We talked all about that. You know, in our Room 23 episode, I don't think we talked about the false bear thing, though. Did we? The 8th commandment? Thou shalt not bear false witness?
I think we did.
You weren't even there.
I was.
For Room 23?
Warned me.
There. I remember being there. So this sentence, though, appeared has the word pair in it. Pair is ready to leap out of that word. Appeared. There.
Pretty good.
That is great.
It's interesting. Okay.
I suggested they might wish to hang up their coats before going on. How will we find them? One asked. We might not pass through here again. I assured them I would help them to return. You can count on me, I said sincerely. Still, they wouldn't leave anything behind. Opening one of the doors, we made our way to.
Yeah, we didn't hit that quite as tightly as we normally do in our textual analysis, but the thing about the coats, as I mentioned, the obvious meaning that I always take it from that that's not apparently correct. Whoops, Andrew's trying to say something. I guess the time has passed. The moment's gone. I mean, if you consider the
all I was is people have tried to do things with left behind.
Oh yeah. They wouldn't leave anything behind. God, yeah, it's so. Who knows what to do with it? I mean, there's stuff that's behind stuff. Whatever. But anyway, shit, man, I got no strength left. I feel like I can't do anymore.
So we'll have to have part 2 of Room 42 in the future.
There will be no part 2.
Well, it's a good thing you're tired, Vince, because this is the last episode.
It's not the last episode. We've got our 1-year anniversary coming up in about 3 weeks. We're going to do something spectacular.
Ooh, let's all sit down and go through the maze and like try to figure out the way there.
But 45.
Room by room.
Yeah, room by room, but we have to like have a consensus as to why we're going the way we're going. And the reason can't be because we know that's the door because we spend too much time thinking about maze. We actually come up with like a compelling argument that people agree to.
Oh, you know what would be interesting? Let's say we do that, and someone who is not familiar with maze is the judge.
Oh.
Here's the arguments,
Yeah.
and then say which way to go.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that's when we're going to break out all the counter arguments, all the other bullshit. Hey, this kind of looks like this number. Hey, you can count this stuff.
The morphine.
And we'll see what's more persuasive. I think that's a great idea.
We should have a competition between people who are trying to get to the center and people who are trying to get to 24.
I think we've got it, man. I think we've got the plan for the 1 year anniversary. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on. We're going to have to get someone who can be a judge here that doesn't know anything about maze, who's willing to sit and listen to us talk for however long it takes to either get to room 45 and back or to fall into 24.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, you're not eligible.
Yeah.
So please don't let us know you're interested because we can't pay you. Your experience.
And they should really know nothing, like no clue about the book, so they don't even know like what difference it makes which way you go. They just should know there are puzzles in the rooms that tell you which way to go, so that they're not like trying to game it in the sense of like who do they think is more trustworthy. You know, it's that they're just evaluating the puzzle solutions we're given. Yeah, we got it, man. All right, seriously, did anyone want to say anything about the text?
It's kind of boring.
Well, you got to say now because we might not pass through here again.
Ooh,
True.
that would have been a good button.
All right, I think we're probably done for the night then.
Could Alex say that line again and
Yeah.
then stop it?
Stop it right after he says we may not pass this way again.
Yeah.
We might not pass through here again.